Hello YouTube, Proxy here, and I'm finally going to talk about this game I've been wanting to talk about New World for over a year now, but with little to no information I've literally been silently waiting. So finally, there has been some developments worth talking about. So first things first, what is this game? New World will be a sandbox MMO survival RPG set in a colonial era, where you can carve your destiny alongside hundreds of other players in a savage and arcane 17th century world. Survive murderous player bandits, band together to build fortified strongholds, or strike out to claim a piece of the haunted frontier. Basically, the main twist of this game is that it's set in an alternate universe, the supernatural is real, horror stories and folklore are true, and the world has elements of magic and horror. The game will generally focus on discovery and exploration of the world, various types of crafting, from alchemy and deadly weapons to building structures and fortifications, battling against both player bandits, the wilderness, and much darker lurking evils. The ability to form companies comprising of craftspeople, mercenaries, prospectors, and architects in which you can build and form settlements with. And finally, fighting over territory to establish your dominion in the new world. It's a fairly basic design set, and it will be interesting to see how they will make it engaging, but there isn't exactly a huge amount of details on offer yet as to what you can and can't do. They did release this announcement trailer last year, so let's have a quick look-see.
New World is a huge open-ended sandbox game set in our take on 17th century colonial America. In this version of the world, the supernatural is real.
Everything that they were afraid of, everything that they hoped for, that they wanted to believe in, that they wish wasn't true, all of that stuff is real. And there are nature spirits out in the woods, and horrible things hide in the shadows. We talk about, the players are our content. They build villages and farms and towns and forts.
We say carve your own destiny, because you can play the game as you want to be an explorer and go explore this big world. Cool, do that. You want to be a soldier and protect people? Do that. You want to be a farmer?
These permanent spaces that they carve out of kind of this cursed monster haunted, hostile wilderness. Whatever they do with it and in it and to one another is really up to them.
At the time, this trailer didn't really tell us much about the game, though it did leave people wondering if this game was a survival game or a full-fledged MMORPG. But New World seems to be a clash of the two genres, MMO connectivity with survival and RPG mechanics. A pre-alpha trailer was leaked earlier this year, and for some time avid gamers were unsure if this was fake or not, but after seeing some new screenshots of the game, it's definitely considered to be legit. So let's take a look at that.
New World is an alternate colonial America, where superstition is fact, and monsters are real. Alchemy and sorcery exist in this vast world, where blessed blades and summoned spirits clash, with eldritch powers and restless dead. Guard yourself with sacred relics, spirit charms, and words of power. Protect your settlement from player bandits and supernatural horrors with arcane wards and ritual magic. Or adventure out into the landscape to discover strange, cursed, and mysterious lands. Group up in parties, large or small, for coordination, shared chat, maps, status awareness, buffs, and experience. Working together has never been so easy. Guilds and alliances enable the organization of hundreds of players, with their own tasks and roles in large-scale efforts towards a massive martial and economic power.
Okay, so the pre-alpha footage looks quite dicey in places, but it was a pre-alpha. The 8-directional turning was certainly off-putting, not to mention the weapon animation clipping issue, but the trailer was never meant to be publicly viewed as it was. So we do have some new screenshots, and if those tell us anything, is that in the 4 months since the trailer leak, the graphics have certainly improved. After all, the Lumberyard engine, Amazon's in-house creation, which is also being used for Star Citizen, does produce some nice looking results. If you're wondering what kind of PC you might need to run this game, well, you are in luck, as it has been listed by Amazon. They currently recommend the following: an Intel Core i7 2600K or AMD Ryzen 5 1400, a GTX 970 or a Radeon R9 390X or better, 16 gigs of RAM, for the game to be installed on an SSD, DirectX 12 and Windows 10 or better, with at least 35 gigs of hard drive space, and an internet connection is obviously required. So the game does require a fairly high-end card, so those with PCs over 5 years of age might want to consider looking for an upgrade if you intend to play the game. You can actually sign up for the alpha right now. All you need to do is head over to newworld.com, click the alpha test application. You will be redirected to amazon.com website where you need to simply click the alert by email. And that's pretty much it. It seems currently like the alpha will be free, which is quite nice actually, as most MMOs seem to be charging people for the privilege to test games these days. Amazon Games certainly has the funding to break into the AAA MMO scene, and it's actually one of the few AAA MMOs in production. So with their own streaming platform linked with the studio, their own in-house games engine, and immense funding, New World has pretty decent chances of being a strong MMO contender in the future, at least conceptually. Many of the developers of the studio have worked on League of Legends, Half-Life 2, Left 4 Dead, Portal, Thief, System Shock 2, Age of Empires, Dawn of War 2, Halo, The Last of Us, Gears of War, The Sims, and BioShock, to name a few. Now at Gamescom, some lucky individuals got to take the game for a spin in its pre-alpha form, so now we have some additional details to go on. Apparently New World won't have a static class system, so you can choose in which direction you want to go and specialise, whether it be tanking, healing, support or DPS. There's supposedly roots of weaponry, technology and magic as well. Weapons and gear range from the magical to more inventive technology like cannons and muskets. Gear progression is listed as somewhat open-ended in this regard and will supposedly allow for a lot of customization of your character. The game will have a focus on guilds and empire building, so teamwork is important, and so will building up those social links. The world, while being an MMO, will be large and will have trees that can be chopped down and deforested. Crafting apparently feels like it does in games like Rust, Ark, Conan Exiles and Rend. New World's combat is action based, and while there is no conventional tab targeting, you can press tab to lock onto the target you are currently aiming at in a sort of Zelda or Dark Souls kind of way. Using ranged weapons has a third-person shooter mechanic, so pretty much what you would expect from most survival games. Buildings and structures are destructible like in your standard survival game as well. And once again, just like your average survival game, gear will be fully lootable on death. And while you can effectively kill other players almost anywhere, there is a criminal justice system, and that works alongside a bounty hunter system, which hopes to create a player-killer and anti-player-killer dynamic. New World's endgame revolves around territory control between social groups and guilds. Owning territory gives you various benefits, including taxing players who wish to live within your boundaries. And territory boundaries will expand slowly during gameplay, so your colony can passively grow. New World hopes to have around 1,000 players per server currently, which is far less than what the average MMO will allow, but a value 10 times greater than what a survival game like Ark offers. Effectively, New World is attempting to bridge the gap between what an MMO allows and what a survival game offers. This seems quite a risky game for Amazon to release as one of their first games from its fledgling studio, as survival games are generally an oversaturated genre. I feel that for this game to be successful, New World needs to give enough twists and new content to separate itself from other survival games, while still providing the atmosphere of a good MMO. And that's going to be a tricky thing to achieve. So can an MMO survival RPG make it in the current industry? I'm unsure, but it's interesting to see if it can. As I said earlier, you can sign up for the alpha. It appears it won't cost you anything to give it a go currently for free. Personally, I hope they don't monetize access, but you never know. Also, if you are seeking more information on the game, I've linked a couple of articles which are worth a read. Oh, and before I forget, a buddy of mine, Lethality, has set up a Discord for New World, which also has some Amazon employees on it. I'll provide a link for that as well. And on a final note, Amazon has stated that they will be showing off more of the game over the next few months, perhaps even days, so stay tuned for that. If you find yourself enjoying my content, feel free to like, subscribe and drop a comment below, and as always guys, thanks for watching.